Hey family, this is Janie at the African Bee. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things bees, honey, and Africa. So listen, I was asked about the legacy that I would like to leave. And so I'm just going to start talking about that a little bit. I'm just going to do it a little each day. So I'm just going to say first, not only am I the CEO of the African Bee Company, I am also a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm a grandma, right? And so I was thinking about my own grandmother who has long passed. And I always admired certain things about her. And one of the main things I admired about her was what she was able to leave her children. Okay, she has 6 children of her own. She was separated from her husband. She moved to Philadelphia, PA. And again, she has 6 children, and she was taking care of those children on her own. You heard, and that wasn't easy. We're talking about the 40s and the 50s. And so by the time I came along, which I was born in 1961, my brother and I, we lived with my grandmother for a short period of time. And then when we wasn't living with her, she was the babysitter. You know how y'all do grandmas and stuff, right? So back then it was way more. I think it was a bit easier because people didn't work as hard as they do today for things that don't really matter. Okay, so my grandma, she worked very, very hard, right? She raised 6 children in a small house in Philadelphia. Now by the time she left this world, she owned that house. Okay, she owned that house, and she was able to pass it down to her children, who, when they got in a bad spot, all they had to do was pay the taxes. So I mean, I know that our different uncles had um, a time spent at that house when they didn't have anywhere else to live. Um, so, at least one of my aunts lived there for a time, and then their children also, spent time at my grandmother's house. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Um, in addition to, of course, me, I want to leave my faith. I want my children to know from generation to generation who Yah is, who they are, and Him, that we are His chosen people, and that means a whole lot, that we are kings and queens. I want them to know that, and also I want them to be able to make it, right? I want them to be able to make it. And that's what my grandmother helped her children do. She helped them to make it. Okay? They didn't have to sleep on a bus or a train in their cars or whatever. They had an actual home to come to, and they had jobs, so they paid the taxes. And that's it. And that worked for generations. And I think finally, in the end, Temple University bought the house, and her children split the proceeds. That's what I'm talking about. Leaving behind something that our children can use, right? Not just for one generation, but for several generations. And that's very important to me. And look, whenever I think about my grandmother, I mean, she went through a lot. She had a lot of issues, but I tell you, she did an amazing thing. She did two amazing things. She introduced me to the Messiah. That's the biggest thing. And secondly, she uh, she left this legacy, right? This legacy of wealth, because it really was wealth that she left behind as well. And I want to say, she worked for many years at Temple University Hospital as a housekeeper, and she wasn't making much money. I looked up, well, especially by today's standards, right? So I looked it up, and so she was most likely making $1.33 an hour, and on that, and then maybe she worked a second job. I'm not sure, but on that money, she managed to pay off that house. What? and leave that house to her kids. You know, that's amazing, and that is part of the legacy that I would like to leave for my children. For it is written that a good man or a good woman leaves an inheritance for their children. I love you guys. Peace.